Alright, good morning. Happy Sunday. One day closer to deer season. I'm out doing some scouting today. I got some cell cameras to put out, some to move around. I just took down one. I'm headed up to a spot right now. Set up a licking branch set for a trail camera, a spot that I'm gonna hunt. Well, whole ridge system that I'm gonna hunt really. It's just, I put the camera there, kind of get an inventory on deer. Last year, man, mid-October, I got a pile of bucks from I think the first one was October 15th. Right about the time maybe a few mature does would have came into estrus. And from then on, it was just insane. Handful of nice bucks, mid-morning, broad daylight, but it's way on the top of this ridge, and it's a hell of a walk up here. There's some beech nuts. There's some beech trees up here on the edge of the ridge, and what the deer were basically doing is they're bedding on the leeward side of the ridge. They're coming up over the ridge. There's a little opening with a maple tree right in the middle of it, and little field couldn't be more than 30 yards wide. And I put a trail camera right on that maple. And the amount of bucks I got on camera was just insane. And it wasn't really a spot that I was actively hunting. I just put a camera in there because I wanted to see if it was going to be worth hunting in the future. And boy, was it. So I'm going to go in there, set up a licking branch set, and so I can get inventory. But this whole ridge system, it's pretty tall. Takes me, and I got long legs, takes me a good 20 to 30 minutes to get up it, depending on how quiet I'm going to be. There's a huge runway right here. It's coming right off this ridge. You can see it right through there. Starts here, all the way up there. And that's the top of the ridge, way up there. Good thing is there's a bunch of beech trees up here, and they were just raining acorns last year. Or not acorns, beech nuts. Not a lot of oaks up in here. In fact, the some that I have checked this year, they're not dropping oaks or acorns. So, not really sure what's going on with the acorns this year. They're very spotty. I haven't found any trees that are just loaded. That's here in Michigan, though, the northern lower peninsula. So, yeah, it was a good runway. God, I don't know if it looks like it on camera, but this ridge just keeps going. This won't be my entry point when I do come to hunt it. I don't want to walk on that entry until I come to hunt it. Damn. It just dropped way down in there. God. Check some of these beech trees. See if they're dropping beech nuts. Those are beech nuts. These are the beech nuts. Now, obviously there's no nut in there, but that's the food that they're eating up in these hills, and you can see beech trees, beech trees, beech trees all over. But this is on what would be the northwest side of the ridge. Yeah, northwest. And they lay on the other side, on the northeast side of the ridge. And in the evening, I come right over the ridge, drop down into here, and they feed along this whole ridge for beech nuts. I keep wanting to say acorns. Another big beech tree right here. All right, I just got to the top of this. Oh my God. This is where I had a mock scrape last year. You can actually still see my dripper there. It's funny because I actually had a bear climb the tree and chew on that. That make me very happy. But I came up from over there, which, like I said, is the west side, kind of northwest side of this ridge. That's where all the beech nuts are. And granted, there's a lot of beech nuts in here, beech trees scattered throughout, but so you look here, and that's really steep over there. Drops down into a big bowl. And that's where a lot of the does will bed, because they got the prevailing wind blowing over like that. Thermals from the bottom are coming up, and these bucks, what they'll do, you can see this is just one really tall ridge system. They'll get on the leeward side and they'll run it, and every time they come to one of these drainages or bowls where these does like to bed, they'll come up almost from the top of it, and they'll scent check, see if any of those does are coming into estrus. That's how they do it, and it can be pretty deadly too if you know how to set up on it. One thing I found out hunting in the hills, and I wouldn't say that I have a bunch of experience, but I'm going to be doing most of my bow hunting up in these hills this year. Right around October 15th is when all those bucks started showing up on camera. Middle of the morning, broad daylight. I mean, you can see here, broken off, but there's a little paw scrape there. So yeah, I'm gonna get this set up. I want to show you guys what I do. I got some white rope, and I'm gonna hang it from that tree over there. And that's basically gonna be a licking branch. I may a couple times hunt right over this once or twice, but my idea with this is any deer that's coming through here using this ridge system, bedding in here or using it to feed, look for does, they're gonna end up right here. This is a big choke point. Like I said, the ridge drops off right there, and right over here. So any deer that's running the top of this is gonna end up right here, right under this tree. Now, the bad thing about this is you do not have the wind in your favor very often. In fact, if you're gonna be hunting, if I'm gonna be hunting this in the morning, there's a good chance that if a deer comes through, like let's say I set my stand up right there on a west or a northwest wind, a deer comes through, goes to the edge of that point to drop down into the bowl in the bedding area, he's probably gonna end up getting my wind. That's the only bad thing about this setup, but like I said, this is like the perfect spot to hang a camera, because anything that's gonna be coming through here that's using this ridge system, I'm gonna get it on camera and I'll know about it. But as far as hunting it, totally different story. So let me get that set up. I want to show you guys this. Be a good opportunity right now for me to kind of like look at a tree that I could hunt. I got a few other spots in here where I know I can set up, but like I said, based off last year, it was just insane. So I got another camera that's been in here since last year. I'm gonna go grab that. I'm gonna move that over to another spot that, once again, top of the ridge, close to a bedding point. And it was on fire mid-October, all the way almost up to gun season, and even into gun season, especially the one I'm gonna go get. I don't know why, but people just don't want to climb these hills. I don't see deer stands, I don't see cameras, I don't see people parking and coming up in here because most people just don't know how to hunt them. And if I'm being completely honest, it's not my specialty either. But after last year, I'm kind of committing my my bow season anyway to getting into these hills. So that's the game plan. All right, on to the next. All right, so we're making the climb again. We're going to look at, want to put a camera out for one. Then I'm going to check up here to see if these oak trees are dropping acorns. You can see how tall these ridges are. Use these old logging roads to access them. I'm going to see if these are dropping acorns. They didn't last year. Not a lot anyway. Barely any. And there was still plenty of deer movement through here. But it's because there's a pretty good bedding point on which would be the north side of this ridge. Looking down through here, you can see deer been eating on this stuff. It's just briars, chewing off the leaves. All this stuff, it's all that briar. Starting to get into the oak trees now. I don't see any acorns. At least not falling. There's none on the ground. None up in that tree. If up here and find them, they're going to be pretty close to the top. Yeah, briars. Assuming there's some. You gotta find which tree. It doesn't really matter. No, it does either way. You can see. Look at the deer. Just mowing this down. Look at that. Gotta run. I got runs coming down these chutes. Right there's one right there. Coming down to eat all this stuff. It's just nuts. There ain't no food out there for deer. Whatever. Just need to decide where I want to put this. Put it right at the camera last year. Seemed to be a good spot. Right down here. We're now to the top. So all this is that northeast facing ridge line right here. Down in all that thick stuff. That's where they like to lay. You get the prevailing wind coming over their back as the thermals are coming up the ridge. So I'm almost getting two winds. That's why these deer in the hills are so hard to hunt. All right, got the camera all set up right there. It's about head height for me. And I got the rope all set up, the licking branch. Got the branch buttered on there. We'll see how that goes. I did rough up the ground just so that way there's some exposed soil. I don't expect anything really to be hitting it for about another maybe 3 weeks. Could get some activity in here, but I'm not really expecting it. So I got the cameras in here. Probably won't even hunt this spot or this area maybe mid-October. So got it all set up though. It's good to go. And now I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna check a few more of the oak trees and see if they're dropping acorns, but from what I can tell, doesn't look like they are, which is fine because last year they didn't either. or not a lot anyways. There's a few dropping, but there wasn't a lot. So, well, good news is we got acorns. Not a lot. I mean, it's pretty much like it was last year. You know, they're going to be fairly sporadic, which, I mean, at least there is acorns. So, good. We got acorns. I'm happy. So that tells me a lot of the stuff that I saw last year, it's going to be very, very similar this year, because the acorn crop is pretty much going to be the same. So, and you can see how steep that drop is. Look at that. I just gotta look at the camera here once in a while to make sure I'm in frame, but you can see that drop. That's crazy. That's insane. A deer can literally be sitting here and it can stare down. Or it's not even going to be seen by any predators, i.e. me. See a lot of acorns on the ground from last year. See a lot of this old stuff. You got mold on there, but that's still good. So if you look at that, these acorns that dropped last year, deer are still going to eat them. So if you ever get into an area where, you know, there's no acorns up in the trees currently, especially in the when you're doing your preseason scouting, come through here, take a look at some of the acorns that are on the ground, and bite into them. You know, see if there's any food in there for them. Look at that. Deer are going to come through and eat that. And it's been sitting on the ground a while, so it's probably got a lot of the bitter taste out of it. Here's some of those historical rubs we were talking about. Like a little cherry tree, or it's all tore up. Could have been from last year or the year before, but either way, I mean, we're talking about the same thing. Bucks in the past have used this. Bucks currently are using this. Bucks in the future are going to use this. As long as there's food on these ridges, they're going to use it the same way. They're going to travel up and down them the same way, looking for does, looking for food, bedding. I mean, everything's here. They don't need to leave to go anywhere for the summer to feed. They got all the food they want down here in these briar patches. And here's a fresh acorn that hit the ground. You can see it's still green. Now, you bite into one of these, chances are it's going to be pretty bitter. It's pretty bitter. Yeah, look at this. Got all sorts of good ones falling. I'm like Donkey Kong. I will kill a buck out of this spot. How being steep this is. It's insane. I swear to God, you gotta be part Billy Goat to get in these hills. I think one thing if I could stress about this is I didn't hunt this area a lot last year. I hunted it, I think, 2 or 3 times. Yeah, 2 or 3 times. The biggest thing was I had trail cameras in here. I had trail cameras in here trying to see what the deer do. So that way, in the future, if I wanted to hunt it, I'd already be a little bit ahead of the game. I don't have to come in and scout. Really, all I gotta do is come in, make sure there's acorns, make sure it's set up very similar to the way it was last year, and go from there. And I typically do that quite a bit. I'll put out trail cameras in areas that I don't even intend on hunting. And I don't think a lot of people do that. And granted, trail cameras are pretty expensive, so one thing I'll do, and I didn't particularly for this spot, but one thing I will do is I'll take like a regular trail camera, you know, one of those $60, $70 trail cameras, go put it out in a spot, and I'll come back at the next spring, the next summer, or whatever, and look at it and kind of see what the deer were doing. You know, see if bigger, mature deer are using the area. And if they are, then I'm a little bit ahead of the curve. I already kind of know about what time of the year they're going to be using this ridge system and what time of the day. And if you can get that figured out, man, it's killer, because you don't have to come in here and do any in-season scouting. All you got to do is come in, hang your stand, whether that be a climber or whatever, but you can come in and do that, and you don't have to come in and bust them out, lay down any scent, you know, scouting, you know, tipping them off that you're coming. You can also put a game plan together, you know. I mean, if you have like a bunch of trail camera pictures on a ridge, and let's say October 20th through the 25th, and you come in here and you see that there's acorns on the ground, guess what? Come October 20th to October 25th, you can almost guarantee that at some point these deer are going to revisit this. They're going to be using it the same way. Maybe even some of the bucks from last year, or does from last year, depending on what you're trying to kill. So keep that in mind when you're going out this year. If you're going scouting, I always carry a trail camera with me. You know, not a cell cam. I understand cell cam, you know, they're a little bit more expensive. You get a regular trail camera, take it with you when you're scouting, because you may find something that maybe you don't intend on hunting that season, but you can come back to it the next year if what you get on camera is saying that it's worth it. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, that's I got a little bit more preseason scouting to do, and for my bow spots. My rifle spots, I'll start looking at those here in the next week or two when we get some rain. So I am gonna get out of here. It's pretty warm out. I'm gonna go watch some football. So see you guys later.